A small mistake such as using too many colors in your work could be what's holding you back from landing your dream projects and growing your creative career. Here are the top 10 mistakes most artists make at the beginning of their careers. Hi everybody, it's Saf, and today we're talking about something super important, which, as you saw from the title, are the top 10 mistakes that most artists make in the beginning of their careers and how to avoid them. Now, I've been a self-employed illustrator for 5 years, and 2 of those years have been completely full-time, so these are all things that I've learned along the way, and hopefully I can teach them to you so you don't have to learn them the hard way like I did. Now, whether you're just starting out or leveling up, avoiding these pitfalls can save you so much stress, money, and time. So let's get into it. Hey guys, this is Editing Saf here. Before we get into the video, I just want to make a disclaimer that I use the words artist and illustrator interchangeably throughout this whole video without realizing. And the reason is because I'm an illustrator, but I also call myself an artist. So whether you're an artist or an illustrator or both, it all applies. Just know that when I say illustrator, I mean artist as well. It could be any type of artist, so yeah. Enjoy the video. Mistake number 1, thinking you don't need a contract. Contracts are not just for big corporations. I know so many times when we work with friends or smaller businesses and brands, we often think we don't need a contract, but having a contract not only protects you, but the client as well. It sets clear dates on deliverables, how much you're gonna get paid, when you're gonna get paid, and so much more. Trust me when I tell you I've learned the hard way that back and forth emails don't count as some sort of formal agreement. There's been times when I thought I've trusted the client and, we had email back and forth or word of mouth, and people will go back on their word, and that's just human nature. Things happen, but that's why I think you should always have some kind of contract. The word contract sometimes feels so scary and so formal, but my tip is instead of using the word contract, you can use something like a written agreement. Using the words written agreement makes it feel less corporate and less stressful and kind of less serious, because trust me, I get it. If you're working with somebody that you are close with or a family member or a friend, telling them you want to sign a contract kind of feels weird. I would say having some kind of written agreement that outlines your deliverables, how much you're going to get paid, when you're going to get paid, how many rounds of edits you're going to give, all of that stuff. I could do a full video on things to include in a contract that I've learned the hard way, but we'll save that for another time. Mistake number 2 is using too many colors in your artwork, believe it or not. It's crazy that I'm saying this considering all of my artwork revolves around bright, bold colors, as you can see behind me, but I think there's something to be said about using too many colors. I of course say this because I have been victim to this, but I think sometimes when you use too many colors, it takes away from what you're actually trying to depict in your artwork. Essentially, it can make your work look really chaotic and can take away some of the key messaging. So my recommendation is always to go with 5 to 7 base colors as your main color palette. And if you want to do shading and highlights, just use the lighter and darker shades of each color, so that way you're still sticking to the palette, but you're not using too many colors and it's not too much. This will really just ensure cohesiveness in your work, and honestly, it just looks more professional. A lot of the times, clients can decipher between a amateur artist versus a professional artist literally just based on their use of color and how they use it. So that is something to be mindful of. Mistake number 3, not leaving your house. So let's face it, we obviously live in a very digital world where everything we do, the people we connect with, a lot of it is online. However, I think there is also something to be said about meeting people in person. Meeting somebody in person goes a long way because you're able to connect with them differently. There's a huge difference in making a connection with someone online versus in person, when you can actually hear their voice, hear their cadence, how they're talking, and I feel like conversation just flows more naturally in person than it does online. My recommendation here and some tips are to try to go to events where you would find your ideal client. So for example, gallery openings, art markets where people are looking to buy your work, as well as even creative events in your city if you have any. That way you can connect with other creatives who may connect you to your future client, because that has happened to me before. Sometimes with networking in person, you don't necessarily get something out of it right away, and I think that's something important to note, is that when you are networking with someone and you meet someone who you do connect with, always connect with them outside. For example, get their LinkedIn, get their email, get their Instagram. I always do Instagram or LinkedIn because I always post there. So by following them and connecting with them on these platforms, they're able to keep in touch with you and see what you're doing and the projects that you're working on. So that way, if they don't have anything for you right now, in the future when they do, they're gonna think of you and you're gonna be top of mind because they always see your posts. Mistake number 4 is thinking you need more followers to land your dream clients. This is so wrong because some of my biggest clients have come when my following wasn't that big and all it takes was literally continuing to post on social media. I know that not having a lot of followers, sometimes it feels like you're posting into the void and nobody's listening to you, because trust me, I've been there and I still feel like that some days, that I'm just posting and nobody's watching, but you never know who is watching. Clients have found me through hashtags, clients have found me by my peers reposting my post, and none of those things like hashtags and reposts have anything to do with the amount of followers you have. It's literally just by having the right followers. So if you are a small account, keep showing up and keep posting, because you never know who is watching or where your work will end up. Brands and clients care more about the aesthetic and the type of artwork you make more than how many followers you have when it comes to illustration. So keep that in mind. Mistake number 5 is underpricing your work. I know how tempting it can be to lower your prices just so you can ensure that you land a gig, but trust me when I say this can actually do you more harm in the long run than it can good. Because when you underprice your work, now you're setting a precedent to yourself, to this brand or client, that this is how much you charge, so it may be harder to increase your prices later on. Another reason why it's harmful to underprice your work is because you can unintentionally be undercutting other artists. So what do I mean by this? For example, let's say I charge $1,000 for an illustration and you charge $3,000. If we are approached by the same brand and they see that I charge $1,000 and they see that you charge $3,000 after talking to us both, they are more likely going to work with me because I am the quote unquote cheaper artist. So now I just lost you a client, and now that brand moving forward, when they work with other artists, they're going to have this precedent in their mind that artists can charge $1,000 and we can find an artist that will charge that little, so they're likely not going to work for the artists that charge more. So underpricing your work not only harms you, but it can actually harm other artists and overall the industry as well. So yeah, don't underprice your work because it's not just about you, okay? Mistake number 6 is comparing yourself to other artists. I did this so much in the beginning of my journey, and there are times where I am still guilty of this, but whenever I compare my work to the work of other artists, I feel like subconsciously I start trying to change my work to match what I think is good, and that actually does more harm as well, because now I'm altering my style and what makes me unique and different as an artist, because I'm trying to be like other people. I'm trying to be what I see as better. And I think this is so bad because clients want to hire you because you're unique and you have a unique style and a voice and a story to tell. So anytime you try to alter that to fit in with what's trending, you are taking away from your uniqueness and your story. So yeah, stop comparing yourself to others and embrace who you are and tune deeper into your unique style and the stories that you want to tell in your art to continue to make it unique and to continue to make it stand out. And once you have a refined style and a refined story, brands will come flocking to you. And this is the advice that I have received from so many artists who are in higher places than me, as well as agency directors and creative directors. Like, this is what they look for. They look for the uniqueness behind the artist and what is their story that they're trying to tell. So hone in on that. Don't try to be like other artists, okay? You're you and you're special. Okay, believe it. Mistake number 7 is not moving your body. I wish that when I started going serious with my art business and spending so much time behind the computer and working, that someone would have told me the importance of moving my body and working out. Now I understand that not everybody can get a gym membership or is able to work out intensely, but that is not what I'm trying to say here. I'm literally saying just moving your body in any way you can, whether that's going for a walk around the block, doing some stretches, whatever moving your body looks like to you, yoga, for example. Do it. Try to move your body as much as you can, because working out has released so much brain fog. It's allowed me to think without pressure. It's allowed me to just feel better in my body, and thus I'm able to think clearer, and it just gives me so much confidence. Like when you go to the gym and you set a new goal for yourself, like today I'm gonna lift 20 pounds in this certain exercise, and when you actually do it, You gain so much confidence in your ability and who you are, and that later translates into your work. Move your body in any way that you can, whether it's stretches, running, walking, yoga, going to the gym. Do something for at least 30 minutes a day, and you will see so much results, trust me. Mistake number 8 is ignoring the business side of your art business. I get it firsthand. As an artist, all we really want to do is create. However, when I started to think of my art as a business, that is when everything changed for me. That happened in 2023, and that is the year that my business and my art just blossomed. I started getting the clients I wanted. I started reaching more people, like everything you could imagine. It started to happen slowly. Essentially, what that looked like for me was marketing my business. So on social media, posting posters outside, believe it or not. It also looked like going to networking events to do word of mouth marketing, and as well as paying for Instagram ads to reach the right audience. Because if you don't target your audience, there's a high chance that Instagram isn't actually gonna deliver your stuff to the right people. It also means staying on top of things like expenses, income, and taxes every month. I know it is not the most glamorous thing, but understanding the business side of your art business will really help you develop a career that is actually going to be sustainable in the long run and help you figure out the areas that you need to grow in. Mistake number 9 is taking on every opportunity that comes your way. Now I know there can be a lot of benefits to saying yes to a lot of things in the beginning of your career. You can make connections, you can get more clients, you can make more money. However, this can burn you out really fast. And I'm speaking from experience, yes. Be selective about the gigs that you take on. It is okay if a brand reaches out to you and they do not align with your values, your style, or honestly your long-term goals of where you see yourself. Because while yes, it could be really cool working on a ton of opportunities that you said yes to, you could also be spreading yourself out way too thin. And when you spread yourself out way too thin, you're not producing your best work. So you're actually doing yourself more harm than good, because now all these brands are gonna think you're kind of bad at what you do because you're not able to give it your all, but they're gonna think that that's your all, but it's not actually your all. It's not a good look for you. It's not. Like, yeah, you could be making money from working with 10 brands in a month, but you're not gonna be able to give all 10 of those brands your all because we just humanly don't have that much time in a month, in a week, in a day. So be selective about who you say yes to. Finally, mistake number 10 is not having any work-life balance. Listen, if you're gonna fix one mistake out of all 10 that we're talking about today, let this be the one. It doesn't matter if you're a full-time illustrator or a part-time illustrator. I really do think that you need to find some sort of way to enjoy life, because creative burnout is real, and I have been at the point where I've just been working 24/7 from when I wake up to when I sleep. I'm just at my laptop doing admin, doing creative, creating, doing videos, whatever the case may be, and I have felt so burnt out to the point where I just hate what I'm doing. And when you choose to live creatively, when you choose to turn your hobby into your career, you cannot hate that, because you're likely working alone. You don't have coworkers. All you have is yourself. So if you burn yourself out, you have no one holding you accountable. It's so easy to get lost down that rabbit hole and just stop creating and stop doing what you love, and that's not what you want. So in order to avoid that creative burnout and the feeling of being uninspired, take a break. Okay, so for example, because I turned my hobby, illustration, into my full-time job, and now there's this added pressure to make money off of my hobby, I had to find other hobbies that weren't illustration. So for me, that looks like reading fantasy books, books that have nothing to do with business or work or money, they're just for fun. I like to work out, like I said earlier. I also newly started coloring, so I have like the alcohol markers and a coloring book, which has been super fun. And I also sometimes just watch Netflix, and that is a hobby, to just sit down, relax, watch Netflix. Some other examples of hobbies are going on walks, cooking new recipes, maybe you like to write songs or something, anything. It doesn't even have to be creative. Like I said, it could be watching Netflix and just like brain rotting for a little bit to take the pressure off of your brain from being creative. I'll also add on top of this is make sure you get enough sleep. I think that has to do with work-life balance, but if you don't have enough sleep, you're not able to think properly to your brain's full capacity. And how can you be creative when your brain is lacking sleep? This is something that I struggle with still. I am guilty. I'm guilty, but we're working on it. Remember, we only have 24 hours in a day for a reason. We should be sleeping probably for about 8 of those. So the rest of the hours, it's math. Wait. Siri, what's 24 minus 8? 16. If you get 8 hours of sleep a day, you have 16 hours in the day to do stuff. That is a lot of time to get work done and also have fun in life and enjoy life, okay? So those are the 10 common mistakes to avoid as an emerging artist. Comment down below and let me know which one resonates with you the most. I'm curious to see how many of these you've made already or experienced or haven't experienced and you're shocked to hear. Just let me know all of it. I'm really curious. And if you have any other mistakes that I missed, please feel free to drop them down below so we can learn from each other and grow as a community. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe so you can see more videos like this. Give this one a thumbs up so that I know you like this type of content. And lastly, be sure to share this with one of your creative friends who you think would benefit from hearing these mistakes. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Peace.